to you all right after the webinar. I mean, in a day after the webinar. All right, so. So again, good morning, everybody. My name is Gaurav Shekhar. I'm the program director of the Graduate Business Analytics program here at UT Dallas. I have a long association with UT Dallas. Was a student here several years ago. I'm an assistant professor of instruction in the School of Management in the information systems area. I teach courses around business intelligence, robotic process automation, digital consulting. Uh, I work on a lot of industry initiatives as well for students, creating those partnerships that help our students get internships, full-time jobs, experiential opportunities to work on projects, interact with the employers, etc. Um, but I'm here today to talk about our program, the Graduate Business Analytics program, which also happens to be our largest program in the School of Management. As I mentioned before, any questions that you may have, feel free to just put them in the chat as we go along. And right after my presentation, which should be about 15 minutes, I will take on those questions. Whether it is anything, just don't hold your questions to yourselves. The best thing is to just get them out and get your responses. But before even we talk about our program and why our program is important, the bigger question to ask is why a program like business analytics or analytics is important. And the simple answer to that is because of data. Data is everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you are in a traditional industry or you are into an industry that heavily uses computer systems, you all create data, either through your computer systems or through, scanned documents, whatever it is, everybody is creating data. And it would be not very wise if you don't look at patterns. Now, the good thing is everybody wants to look at patterns. The better thing is a lot of them don't know how to look at those patterns. And why I say that is a better thing, because that's where somebody like yourself who gets equipped with a degree, the skill sets required to look through data. And again, analytics is not about just creating a report or creating a dashboard and that's analytics. That probably is the end result of your analysis. That's probably the end result of you creating a model or fine-tuning a model and going from there. So what we take a lot of pride in is the fact that we provide you with the tools that help you understand the language of data. It doesn't matter how messy it is. It doesn't matter how incomprehensible it looks like, but you have the right skill sets to look at what it is. And as far as the demand in the industry is concerned, there is a big dearth of qualified data analytics, business analytics professionals. Now, what we do in the School of Management is not just restricted to you running models or using tools, because you, as a student of business analytics, is also understanding what the business problem is. See, let's take a few steps back. And when we talked about, okay, everybody wants to look at data and make sense of what data is telling them. The other question it begs is, why even spend so much time in it? Not very far from Dallas, we have Bentonville, that's the headquarters of Walmart, and they have an analytics practice of a couple thousand people. Why do you need so many people to do analytics? And the simplest answer to that is because if you want to stay competitive, if you want to think ahead of your competition and you want to think ahead of time, you need people who can understand in what direction your data, your events went in the past, and kind of help you in describing them through descriptive analytics, predicting future events through prescriptive analytics, and then prescribing what to do through prescriptive. These are just a few things that you get to learn in the program. And at the end of the day, our motivation is that when you graduate from this program, you go out and you become an independent contributor. Being an independent contributor says a lot about your abilities to, to work as an analytics professional. The other important thing is, even though people have recognized the need of analytics, there are not a whole lot of qualified people. As I said, just creating a dashboard or putting some visuals together is not analytics. So when you have this dearth of qualified professionals, I think you're at a very opportune time where you can equip yourselves with these skill sets through the degree, and then go out and you're still early in the curve when it comes to an analytics career, or maybe the curve where the industry is when it comes to utilizing analytics. It's not just a big buzzword, it is something that is needed. It's a dire need right now. For us, some guiding themes: we are very flexible. You choose how you want to tailor your program. You choose how you want to have your courses lined up. You choose when you want to graduate, how soon you want to graduate, how many courses you want to take, what time, day, week of the day you want to take, the day of the week you want to take those courses. It is on you. We also pivot on a lot of engagement. Why? Because for us, engagement is important. What you're doing in your classrooms, a lot of it is done outside of your classrooms as well, for you to build that persona, that profile, and the confidence to go out and be a confident practitioner. Another thing that we are very, oh, I think my presentation just stopped. Let's see. Okay, there you go. Another thing that is important here is the fact that we are very focused on outcomes. We do a lot of things and we measure it and we try to see, have we found value or have we found what we wanted to do with our initiatives? If it requires tweaks, we implement them. If it doesn't work and there's another way to do it, we do it. But the idea is, we are a very fast-paced program here in terms of what we try to do for our students and how we run it here. Honestly, I mean, despite the fact that we are an educational institution, I always feel that we're working some kind of a, hyper velocity startup who's trying to do a lot of things in a short span of time. And all of it is meant for the benefit of our students. We are the largest in the country. Very proud about that. Our starting salaries for the last few years have been around $100,000. And this includes your base compensation, any signing bonus, any additional bonuses that you might receive at the end of the year. But first year compensation has been around that, and this is an average. Now remember, this is the largest program in the School of Management. We just graduated 314 students in spring of 21, which was again the biggest program to graduate in spring at UT Dallas. And despite being so big, we are able to still hit those big numbers. The fact that we are so big also gives us a lot of ability to go out and offer courses, or offer the number of courses that that no other institution can. As we get to the curriculum, I will show you what I mean by that. We have partnerships with dozens of companies, and when I say partnerships, these people are on our speed dial. Most of them are chief executives, CIOs, CTOs, people who are decision makers, people who run programs in their companies with our students, and they are heavily engaged and invested in the program as well. There's a high return on investment, and we did this survey several times in the last few years. In fact, UT Dallas was ranked #1 in Texas for the return on investment. And why I say that is because, let's say that your entire education, you use an educational loan to pay for it. Most of the institutions that give you a loan give you anywhere between 7 to 12 years to pay it back. That's just an average. The average is around 10. Our students are paying it back in about 3 years. 3.5, 4 years. We just had a student who paid back the entire educational loan in 10 months. And that can only happen if you're earning big salaries. Now, I'm not saying that people are, foot to mouth when it comes to their survival. They're living comfortably, they're doing whatever they have to do, and they're still able to pay off. They're still able to support their families if they need to. Almost 550, 600 internships were done last year. The average pay was about $24, which equates to about $50,000 if you look at just the internship. And the ratio between an internship and a full-time job, it's 2:1 in terms of pay, mostly. Now, there are companies, there are some big organizations, you go to a Microsoft, you go to a Amazon, and they will still pay you the same. So we have 10 different tracks. If you have been on one of our sessions before, at that point of time, officially we had 9 tracks. And why I say officially, because it was only last week that our 10th track was finally made available, which is the Enterprise Systems track. It's a 36 credit program. It's a STEM designated program. 18 credits will go towards your core courses and 18 towards electives. And at this point of time, let me take the opportunity to kind of bring up our okay. So this is the new catalog. Just want to quickly glance over it with you all. So our core courses, which is 18 credits, we talk about econometrics. You get to learn some database foundations around NoSQL, etc. You can get into a foundational class for business analytics, which is taught using SAS or R. And then the predictive, prescriptive, and our advanced statistics, which is a descriptive analytics class. I feel, and this is not just because I'm the program director, I'm saying that, but when we compare ourselves to other universities, this mix is nowhere to be found. A lot of times people gravitate towards things like just data science or maybe just data engineering, a few other things, but the mix is not there. And then every student, the rest of these 6 courses, you can choose from all these different that are out here. Our tracks around accounting, cybersecurity, data engineering, data science, decision and operation analytics, finances, healthcare, marketing, social media, enterprise systems. There are 75 courses out there, more than 75 courses, from which you can choose 6. A lot of times we are asked, we are such a big program. Well, this is the benefit of having a big program, that you are able to take so many different courses. You have so many choices. Just wanted to kind of allude to that for a brief moment. Now, the STEM designation helps with, if it doesn't matter whether you're an international or domestic student. A lot of times employers are looking for STEM students, but if you're an international student, you get the ability for that extended work period, the extended 2 years on top of your first year's OPT. So you can work as an international student, you can work for 4 years, 1 year on your CPT, which is your internship while you're a student, and then 3 years, 1 plus 2, after you graduate. We have 3 different formats of this program. We have the Flex program that I'm leading here, which is the mothership, has all the 10 tracks, has face-to-face and online classes, most of them being face-to-face, self-paced. It's a state-funded program, which means that the more courses you take, the per credit hour rate goes down. We also have 2 smaller sister programs that we have, the cohort, which has 2 tracks, data science and accounting analytics, and then we have face-to-face and online options there as well. The scholarships are different in both Flex and cohort. So let's say you go for a Dean's Excellence Scholarship in the Flex program, you get $1,000 plus the ability to get in-state tuition. There are some options with the cohort program as well. But we also have an online version, which is completely online, 100% online. This online program doesn't come with any, work authorization for international students, but domestic students, and if you're a working professional, you want to join everything online, you can do that. The good thing about the 3 formats is all the core classes will be offered in all 3. It's the electives which are different. So the Flex program gives you the ability to choose from all the 10 different tracks. For the online students, there is also scholarships available up to $15,000. It's a one-time scholarship that we give out. GRE and GMAT waivers are actually available. There's a correction here, and let me make that correction right away as we are speaking, because we don't want you to. So we are also offering this waiver for spring. that is published on our website as well. Okay. I think for the record, we are good here. I strongly recommend go to LinkedIn, look for this hashtag UTD MSBA, and look for what our students are doing. These are first-hand experiences, first-hand accounts, their internships, their competitions, them going through trainings, etc., etc. All of that is here. And it's a good way for you to figure out what students are doing, what kind of journeys they're taking. One of the things I like about such stories is they're very inspiring. A lot of times we feel that there are things that we cannot do, or we have challenges, but these stories make it very possible. You never know whose story you're reading and you're getting inspired, and you end up doing similar things or maybe better things. And I'm just not saying it because I feel it that way. Several times students have come back and said that they just read what a peer did, and that was motivating enough for them. The application requirements can be found at this link. Again, if you're looking for a GRE and GMAT waiver, you need to submit your application completely and then send an email to jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu. Ask requesting them. Just send a one-line email. You have submitted your application. This is the application number. You want to request a GRE GMAT waiver. If not accepted, they will let you know that you'll have to write it. Transcripts, unofficial, will be okay for us to make a decision. Once we admit you, we would require you to submit your application. Now, because of COVID, if your ability to send the transcript, the official ones, is hampered, that's okay. You can email us and we'll be able to find a way to give you some extension. But as part of your application packet, we need your resume, one letter of recommendation, which could come from a professor or it could come from your supervisor, whosoever you deem fit, and a personal objective statement. A one-page statement should be okay. Your essay. A lot of times we are asked, what should we write in the essay? Well, it's up to you, but what I would recommend is think about stuff that you could not talk about in any other part of the application. Put that in your essay. And maybe thinking about what got you to think about a business analytics degree, and especially the one at UTD. And then how do you factor this degree into the larger scheme of things with your career? If you keep it around that, I think that's a pretty good essay. But if you want to add more things, please go ahead. Sylvia Leventhal is our program manager. I'm sure that you would have got responses from her as well, but this is our contact information. We are very open to your emails or your phone calls. You can also schedule appointments with us if you want to. But that is about what I have for now as part of my presentation. I will now go ahead and take your questions. Let's see, what do we have here? Oh, we already have some good questions. All right, I like it. And by the way, Dean's Excellence Scholarship is available right now for spring. If you are a new incoming student, you can apply for the Dean's Excellence Scholarship for spring 22. And if you are going for this Dean's Excellence Scholarship, you will need a GRE score. So there could be a situation where you asked for a waiver, you got an admit, but you didn't have a GRE score. So what you do, you get that. You can get an admit, and maybe later if you submit the GRE score, you'll still be eligible for the scholarship. But the deadline is coming up in, let me just double check, but this is October. This should be October for the scholarship, and it's a regular deadline. Okay, so the spring the application will open a little bit later in late August, but should be around October 1st. So what we do is the regular application deadline that we have for spring, the same will be for your scholarship as well. And one of the things about the scholarship deadline is when we say that, let's say it's October 1st, and I'm going to in a second check what exactly that deadline is. I see a few hands up. Folks, what I would recommend is if we can put our questions in the chat, that'll be great. In case towards the end I have the ability to let you unmute and ask your questions, we'll go ahead with that. Okay. Just give me one brief moment here. All right, so it's October 1st. Absolutely. So October 1st is going to be your deadline for your scholarship applications as well. And what I mean by that is your application is in, your GRE scores have been received, or GMAT scores, whatever you're sending, they are received by the school, and your scholarship application is also received by the school. All of that has to be done by October 1st. Okay. So I'm looking at the first question here. Can I apply for Dean's Excellence Scholarship in spring if I defer my fall admit to spring, and are the number of scholarships granted in spring same as our fall? Also, could you give a range of GRE scores for? Well, first of all, there is no set scores that can get a scholarship. Again, it depends on the pool of applicants. Generally, our average GRE, and this is not for the scholarship, our average GRE in the program is in the range of 310, 312, around that. And mostly we have seen that our scholarship averages are more than that. So again, it depends on what the pool is. How many scholarships we can give out is also something which is subject to the applications and what's the ability of the school to give out scholarship, and that goes up and down. Generally, fall, when we compare the number of fall scholarships, they're slightly more than spring, but then again, we give out a whole lot of spring scholarships as well. If you defer, your admit gets deferred, but your scholarship, if you have one, doesn't get deferred. So you'll have to go ahead and apply for a new one. And let's say that you didn't have a fall scholarship and you deferred to spring and you want to apply for a spring scholarship, absolutely, by all means. As a new incoming student, you can apply for a fall scholarship or a spring scholarship. But as a continuing student, once you're here in the program, it's only fall to fall. How long does it, so this is Akhil, how long does it take for late applicants to receive their admit? It's the same one, 2 to 3 weeks. Approximate time for receiving I-21s, the admit. So again, this has, in certain cases, our timelines have been slightly more than the usual, but generally within a week, we have seen the I-20 getting issued. In fact, our ISSO is working, I would say extra hours definitely to make sure that the I-20s are sent. But here and there might be delays, and a lot of times those delays could be because of, if they're expecting you to send some additional documentation or whatever. But let's say a week to 10 days. Can we still apply for the Dean's Excellence Scholarship if not, can we accept the admin and apply for the next semester? See, the Dean's Excellence Scholarship can be applied for in any semester that you're coming in. As I said, as an incoming student, fall and spring. As a continuing student, you are only applying in fall. Let's say you start this fall. I'm just taking an example. You don't have a scholarship. Spring would be your second semester. You cannot apply for a scholarship then. But what you can do is when the next fall comes, that will be your second academic year, you can go ahead and apply for a scholarship. And at that point of time, as a continuing student, your performance at UTD is going to be the one that will determine what you get. Okay, Vanilla, I'm a fall student. Okay, when should we arrive in the US before our classes? So again, you have the ability to arrive 30 days before the start of your program, and you can start arriving as early as July 24th. What I would say is somewhere at the start of August is what is recommended. Can we start the classes online and arrive in the US later? If yes, by when? Yes, you can. In fact, an email should have gone out or is going out anytime now, where they're talking about how you can start off online if you have to. Let's say your visas are delayed. The list of courses that we have asked you all to enroll in, those courses are built in a way, they're asynchronous hybrid courses that can allow you to start your instruction right from your home country, and as you travel down to the US, you can get into the classes. Do we have to apply for the I-20 again if there is any delay in our arrival? Well, there are two types of delays. One is I am delayed by a few days. And when I say a few days, about a week, let's say. You don't need a new I-20. But if you defer your entry to the second half of the semester, if you do that, then, well, at that point of time, you will need an updated I-20 to reflect a new start. Right there. What are the mandatory important courses you would suggest for the first semester? Well, again, you start with the advanced statistics course is the one which is a prereq for a lot of courses. So I would recommend that definitely. The business analytics with our class or SAS class are, because if you're going for data science related courses, that is the prereq, but that's the other one that I would recommend. After that, on top of it, it all depends on you how you want to pick up your courses, because depending on the track that you're choosing, or depending on the mix of courses that you're choosing, you can decide whether you want to go with, let's say, the database course, or you want to take an elective. Uh, the way you enroll into courses is you have to make sure that your prereqs are taken before the actual course. So how do you space that out? Now, there are some courses that can be taken as coreqs. So just taking an example, business analytics with R has a prereq/coreq of advanced data science, which means you need to take advanced data science either before in a previous semester, or you can take it along in the same semester. So till the time you are compliant with that, you're good. So we said we are flexible, and that's where that flexibility comes in. Should we email separately to someone for requesting TOEFL waiver? Well, Akhil, if your institution, and UT Dallas is right now working on seeing if we can get that added as default. But if the language of instruction in your undergrad institution was English, then you get an automatic waiver. Our team, they know what institutions have the language of instruction as English, so they will give you that waiver. You don't have to request it separately. What is the total intake? Well, depending on the semester. So our fall semester generally has 300 to 400 students. And again, these are not 300 to 400 students sitting in one class. Remember, all our classes, it is up to you how you want to get in, which classes you want to take. Each section, if it's a core class, will have about 50 to 60 students. If it's an elective, it'll have between 30 to 50 students. But that's what you see in one class, one section of a course. But together, I would say about 300 to 400 is fall, about 100 to 150 is spring, and then about 20, 30 students come in summer as well. I have withdrawn, but that I previously applied for fall 21, I didn't get any admit reject, but now I've submitted new application for spring 22. I should be worried of how will the spring curriculum? Okay, let me answer the second question first. So Ruby, the curriculum is not different. It's the same thing. See, it's a flexible program. So you don't take the same courses as your peers do. You might end up in the same courses and the same sections, but you decide how you want to take those courses. That's the flexibility here in our program. In the curriculum, there's an extra 12 credits offered apart from 36. Could you please elaborate on that? Well, the 12 credits that you're talking about, and I'm going to share my screen for that in a second, because that is something new. Okay. So the 12 credits that you might be talking about right at the bottom are this is the new graduate certificate in applied machine learning, which means if you take these 4 courses and you score an average 3.0 GPA, you will end up getting a graduate certificate from the university in applied machine learning. And the good thing is you can get this certificate even before you get your actual master's degree. All you have to do is just finish these courses and apply for graduation from this program. Now, as a master's student, these graduate certificates are great. Why? Because all you have to do is just take those courses. You don't pay additional tuition for this. So let's say you're sitting in the advanced data stats for data science class, and you are a MSBA student, and at the same time, you're also enrolled in the graduate certificate program. You get credit towards both those programs. So, and there are some other certificates as well that we have. There are certificates in business intelligence and data mining, enterprise systems, cybersecurity. All you have to do is just take those 3 or 4 courses. Mostly it is 4 courses. Get a 3.0 in those 4 courses, which is typically an average B, and you get that certificate. A lot of students, you do this because just before they are ready to find internships and all, they try to showcase to their employers, future employers, that they have got a graduate certificate. It's just not another, you know, side program that we have. It's a graduate certificate program by a state university. It has a lot of weight. There are people who come to the university just to pursue this short program, the graduate certificate. And depending on your residency, it could be anywhere between $12,000 to $20,000 worth of tuition. But if you are pursuing a master's degree, this is literally free for you. I mean, it is free because you're just maximizing on the buck. Uh, Surabhi, your first question about you withdrawing and applying again, I would recommend send me a separate email because there might be more things to your case, but I'm more than happy to look into it and get my admissions team as well to look at if there is anything to be worried about. All right, so the next question is there any scholarship for the students who applied, and this is Lee, for the Flex program and were in-state? Yes, Lee, again, at the end of the day, the scholarship is open for everybody. The only difference is that, when an out-of-state student gets it, they end up getting, the ability to pay in-state tuition rates. But even uh, a resident can get this. For the residents, the benefit would be the $1,000. Now, in your second year, when you're applying for a scholarship as a continuing student, there are a lot of donor scholarships as well. And sometimes the donor scholarships might vary in the amounts. Most of them are $1,000 of tuition credit, but depending on who the donor is, there might be a bigger amount there sometimes. Sorry, do I need to submit my transcripts from the university for registering for classes? What's the due date for registering? No, you don't need to. In fact, the university has removed the holds related to your TB test, your any transcript related holds, or what was the other one? Your registration that you can do online, advising holds, all that have been removed. In case you still have it, send me an email and I'll get the right department to look into what it is. In my last email, if you are an enrolled student or you're somebody who's coming in for fall, I have sent an email a few days ago where I've listed who the exact departments are to get the holds removed. Just simply email them and they should be able to take care of it. The due date for registering classes, well, there's no due date. This logically, it's just before the start of classes, but a lot of students have already enrolled. So please go ahead, and if you have not looked into enrolling, enroll. I also want to show for a moment some of the additional sections that you might have already had. And this was an email that I had sent before as well. So all these different classes are the ones which are equipped to handle asynchronous hybrid instruction. So if you are delayed in terms of coming to UT Dallas and you're not in the United States, you can still get into these classes. Now, the only difference is you already have this, but there's just an addition here. This Buon 6359, there's a 501 section that got added a few days ago. So what I sent last time had the first 3 options, but the fourth one, the .501 section, is an addition. Okay. By Mukul, so I'm waiting for my I-20. By what time should I send my official transcripts? Well, as soon as you can. In case there's a delay and you need more time, please send an email to admission, singular word, admission@utdallas.edu. Sean, could you please talk about the course that is a prerequisite for a program, like when we should take it? Okay, well, Sean, that's a good question. Let's look at one of the courses. I'm just taking an example here. So This is a very complicated example. Let me take something just simpler. So you have big data, for example. Big data requires the database foundation course. Okay. The idea is any course that is a prerequisite, if a course only has prerequisites, for example, in this case, you will have to take the prerequisites, before the semester. Now, how early you take them is on you. Let's say you take the prerequisite, this 16320, in the first semester, and then you take this course in your last semester, which is probably a fourth semester. Doesn't matter. The only thing you have to make sure is you have to stagger the courses in a way that your prerequisites are taken in the previous semester. However, let's take another example of a core requisite. So here it says prerequisite or core requisite is the advanced stats course. Now it's up to you whether you want to, and there are people, everybody has a different way of learning. If you want to take this advanced statistics course before you take business analytics with R, well and good. You want to take it together, that is also possible. But that is only possible because we have put it that way here. Not like that you can just come and say that, hey, can I take my prereq as a correc? No, you'll have to take the prereq before if it is not listed as a correc. But good question. So the application fee has multiple components. The first component is for the Flex program, there's a $50 application fee. The second component that is assessed is if you have a degree from an institution outside the US, the foreign credentials evaluation fee is $50. And please do not do any kind of VES evaluations or any third-party evaluations unless you are specifically asked to do that, because that's what UT Dallas does. And VES is much more expensive than what we are doing. So $50 for that evaluation. The late fee, however, because the regular deadline for fall is May 1st, but we still accept late applications, there's a late fee of $75 that is assessed. So that's why you are seeing that $175 for fall 21. Average GMAT GRE scores for the Flex program, well, I would say that the GREs are somewhere around 310, 312. And when we talk about GMATs, they're somewhere in the range of 660 to 700, let's say. I've applied for spring 22. When will I receive my application? It takes about 2 to 3 weeks. RN, is it possible to get a research assistant fully funded job once I get on campus? But mostly the research assistants are PhD students that we have in the school. Now, depending on different departments across the campus, there may be somebody who's looking for a research assistant, and you might get that, but it's a very rare chance that you'll get a research assistantship, and the fact that it will fund your entire education at UTD. Now, you can become a teaching assistant, and teaching assistants are, those assistantships are given, excuse me. Those teaching assistantships are given in the second semester, so you can apply while you're in your first semester for the second semester, and based on the kind of courses you have taken, how well you have done in those courses, we definitely look for at least a 3.4 in the department on your GPA, and definitely an A for the courses that we are trying to put you in. Now, again, we'll put you into courses as a TA only if you have taken that course, not like that you have a work experience and then we'll put you in that another course. Work experience is good, but we really want you to have taken that course. And a TA gets 50% off on the tuition because, again, you end up paying the in-state tuition in case you're an out-of-state student. That's the benefit you get. If you're a Texas resident, then it's just the salary that you get, the monthly salary, which is about $1,000 after taxes. What is the minimum GRE score with a person with 10 years of experience? Ansha, I'm very glad that you asked that question. We look at all applications holistically. For us, one thing cannot outdo the other, and it cannot bring the whole profile down. We look at every bit of your application. There are people who have done great things, maybe have a low GRE score or a GMAT score, but has 5 patents to their name. Why not? We look at your overall profile. We look at the fit. The thumb rule is, and this is the question we ask ourselves: if this applicant is put into the program, will the applicant struggle or thrive? And if we put somebody who's not fit for the program, I mean, you might be fit for another program, but for our program, if we put you in and you struggle, it's on us as well. So that's what we look at. So we don't have minimums. That's what I wanted to say. There are no minimums anywhere. Yet, there is nothing that says that a lower GRE cannot get accepted, and a high GRE can also get rejected, because we look at every bit of the application. Is it all right to choose electives for the first fall semester for fresh? Absolutely. Absolutely. As a graduate student, you can definitely choose electives in the first semester. I teach a course called Robotic Process Automation. It's an elective, and this RPA course, it has no prereqs and all, and there are people who are in their first semester that are taking this class, just to give an example. Can you explain the cost for on-campus housing and meal plan, and are the on-campus housing available? You can go ahead and apply for these on-campus housings. Again, there is a wait list, and it sometimes takes a few months before they tell you what's going to happen with your application. But there are a lot of off-campus communities around the campus within, like, say, the 2-mile radius. And the good thing is there is a bus service that connects them. That bus is available every 15 minutes, starts at 7 a.m. up to 11 p.m. in the night, and it covers the community around the campus. Students use it, and there are lots of great communities that students, they will share apartments, they will live in those communities. The difference between an on-campus and off-campus accommodation, definitely in terms of cost, the off-campus is lower. When you talk about meal plans, there are different meal plans. How many number of meals can you take in a week? Depending on that, from a plan which is, I think, about $500-$600, they have meal plans all the way to about $2,000 a semester. But it's up to you how you want to go ahead and plan it. We've got great options on campus for food. So if you are looking forward to do that, absolutely, it's a good thing to do. But honestly, since we talked about costs, uh, depending on this is totally your choice, whether you want to go with meal plans and you want to go with other options. But there are tons of options that our students have in and around the campus for food. There are also lunch services, different services where people come from outside, and they'll probably deliver food to your place. Not like a food delivery thing, but it's like, a regular tiffin service. You pay once, and then every day or every once a week, they'll come and get you all the food that is required. Fall 21 applications are not closed. They're still open. They're open. We're starting the semester on August 23rd. So I would say apply by about August 10th. But if you're an international student, so this is the way you work at it. You reverse, you look at your timeline from the time you're starting your program. So if you're starting in August, the third week of August, you need your visas before that. You need to be enrolled in classes. You need your I-20s, all that require time. So think about those timelines as well. Okay. Okay. So Govind Swami, I had provided the financial documents for nearly $80,000. I could see total fund for 9 months is 50,000. Can I get a revised I-20 furnishing the maximum approved amount based on the financials document, or is there any reason why it does this? Please advise. First of all, the amount that you see for 9 months, that is not based on any program or anything. That is something that UT Dallas has calculated as to what they feel is probably a good estimate. It's not a conservative estimate, but it's a, let's say the worst case, how much you would be needing. That doesn't change with how much money that you show. Let's say you go ahead and show $100,000 in your accounts. They will not issue you a new I-20 and say that you have the ability for 100,000. They will just say that yes, this is what was needed and the student has the funds to support their education. There is also a question about the duration of the course that is mentioned on the I-20s, which is 3 years. Again, it's a standard duration that is mentioned across. It has nothing to do with how much time it takes for you to finish the program. This program, by the way, can be finished in 9 months if you want to. 2 long semesters, you stack up 18 credit hours every semester, and you're done. The max you can take is 72 months. Most of our students take 3 to 4 long semesters, which is about 18 to 22 months. I don't have any work experience and I have 3 years bachelor degree. Can I apply? Absolutely, we do accept 3 years degrees. Is electronic I-20 enough for visa interview? It is. Could you explain about, so you can just take a printout of that. I think there was a recent webinar by the US Embassy where they talked about it, that is acceptable. Could you explain about internships, like in terms of credits, how do they differ when you start in spring? To be specific, I heard from an earlier meet that some people who started in spring are doing 80 credits in spring instead of doing that. What is the harm in going to at the normal pace of 9 to 12 credit? Does it impact H1B? So that's a very loaded question, Joel, but I'll try to answer that the best way possible. So for us in the program, an internship is mandatory. If you don't get an internship, well, then we have a practicum course that you can take, where also we try to emulate an internship's experience. So let's talk about internship. You can do an internship after you finish 18 credit hours. And why we have that 18 credit hours? Because we feel that to be really successful at your internship, you need to know something. And an internship is an application of what you're learning in the program. So that's why we have that mark of 18 credits. Now, whether you complete, because there is flexibility, you can complete those 18 credits in one semester also if you want to. We don't recommend that because that's a lot of courses that you end up taking. That you'll end up taking. And honestly, 9 to 12 credits is pretty much an okay load. Again, this can differ from people to people. There are people who sometimes find 9 credits challenging. There are some people who find 18 credits okay. But let's say somebody starts in spring. They take 12 credits there, and then summer comes in, and you can enroll classes in summer as well. You take another 6 credits, you're ready for a fall internship. There are a lot of summer internships. Yes, when you compare the other months in the year, there are a lot of summer internships. But the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that we get requests every now and then for every semester for internships. So if you have met your credits and you're ready for an internship, there's a high possibility that you can end up getting one. The fact that you're sitting in Dallas, Fort Worth, and it's bustling with all sorts of industries, there's a high probability that you can get an internship, provided that you're applying the right way, you're networking with people, you're doing things the way it is required for you to secure an internship. Because if you're not following what is being recommended, then it doesn't matter which semester you come in, what kind of courses you take in, you will have challenges with internship. It has nothing to do with an H-1B. Whether you've started your internship after a month, after a semester of doing stuff, that doesn't, because your program allows you to do an internship right after 18 credits. So you met an official criteria, so it will never impact your H-1B. What can impact is, and that is something we also take care of, is your internship has to be relevant to your coursework, not your degree program, but coursework. In our degree, we have cybersecurity, let's say, and tomorrow you did no courses around cybersecurity, but ended up in cybersecurity internship by saying that you had previous experience. That doesn't work out. You need to take courses related to what you're doing in your internship. And we ask that question when students report their internships, that how is your internship related to your coursework? That's the part that can be a problem. If that alignment is not there, that you'll have to explain in H-1B. But we have a lot of controls to help you not get into something which is not relevant. As a full-time student, you have to take 9 credits. If you're an international student and you're here in the US, you'll have to take 9 credits. If you're a domestic student, one course is okay. In the first semester, you'll have to take the MAS 6102, which is the professional development course. But if you have 2+ years of experience here, and there are some other criteria as well, you can waive out of that 1 credit course. But apart from that, and yes, on your admit letter, if you don't have any calculus background, there is a foundational course that we recommend that you take in the first semester, and you'll have to take that in the first semester. But any such prerequisites or anything of that sort will be listed on your admit letter. Do not go by anything else but your admit letter. Until your admit letter says it, there's no need to take it. We're kind of getting to the close, and I'll try to see how many more questions I can take here, but 6356, 6356 or 6359 is also in core courses. So do we get a certificate? Well, if you're enrolled in the program, you take all those courses and you get a 3.0, you get the certificate. You'll have to apply for that certificate. And by the way, now once you start a program at UTD, once you apply to any program, no application fee will be charged. Even if it is a late application, they will not charge you any fee. You just pay the first time. Premji, I have completed my degree by the time, if I've completed my degree by the time I apply for MSBA, do I have to submit my UG semester-wise transcript or the final transcript? Well, by the way, your transcript is not given to you on a semester basis. Your transcript is a single document that has all your semesters. What you might be referring to is your mark sheets. We don't want your mark sheets. We want your final transcript. What is the difference between BUAN and OPRE when it comes to enrolling? Well, again, BUAN is business analytics, OPRE is our operations management area. It's the same course. It's just cross-listing of those courses. For example, a supply chain student, when they come in, supply chain is part of operations management, they will end up taking courses with the prefix OPRE. But it's the same course. It's just different cross-listing. Oh, what are these sessions from academic calendar? Full-term sessions. So any semester has 16 weeks, long semester, fall and spring. Summer has 11. And you can split these semesters into the first half and the second half, which is the first 8 weeks and the second 8 weeks. Now, any 3-credit course will be for the entire semester. Any 1-credit or 2-credit course will be either for the first 8 weeks or the second 8 weeks. Mostly for you all, courses like your professional development or your internship courses, if they are, they could be in the first term or the second term. Well, for you, in most of the cases, it is going to be the 16-week thing. If you're a first-year student and you're coming here after the start of classes, after the start of the 16 weeks, then for you, the next possible arrival time is the second 8 weeks. So what you do is you get into a class, which is for all the 16 weeks and has the asynchronous option, but you enter into the United States in the second 8 weeks. And that's a legal point of entry. Okay, so I've been waiting for I-20, wonder when I would receive. Vicky, I do remember, I believe I saw an email, but if I've not seen an email from you, just send it to me and I'll get somebody from ISSO. They're taking about 7 to 10 days right now, but in case it is delayed beyond that, I will have somebody to look into it quickly. So our undergrad college has informed us that we would be done by undergrad by mid-July, but if anyone has supply exams, their certificates might get delayed, so we continue with our submitting our bachelor's completion. You can send an email to admissions and let them know about this. Again, for students who are directly coming from their undergrad institutions, we do understand that your documents can get delayed, or maybe it's just that your university provides it later, but admissions will give you that extension. How many backlogs are allowed in the undergrad degree while applying for the MSB program? What's the maximum? We don't look at backlogs. We want you to complete your degree. And again, if let's say you had a bad semester and you ended up doing better, we look at your transcript very closely to identify, is there a pattern? Is there a trend? What happened? So there is there's nothing which says that, if somebody has 20 backlogs, they cannot apply to our program. Well, you have graduated, that means you would have successfully completed those courses, right? Assuming I get an A for multiple courses during my first semester, can I become a for multiple courses, or do I Also, do we get paid for TA or is just 50% tuition waiver for international? First of all, there's no tuition waiver. You get the ability to pay in-state tuition. That's the difference, the way to look at it. If you are an out-of-state student. Now, you get A in multiple courses is not an automatic qualifier for you to become a TA. Let's say there are 60 students in a class and 15 get an A. Are you the 15th student? How well did you did in your courses? How well did you do in terms of, the non-academic parts of your coursework? Are you somebody who can handle the load of 100 to 150 students a semester? There are a lot of other things as well. Yes, it will definitely make your application stronger, but it doesn't result into an automatic qualifier that, yeah, I have all A's, I will become a TA. It's still a job. It's still a job where we are evaluating everybody who qualifies. For us, the minute you hit 3.4, after that, we're good. Okay. Srishti, I've asked for the estimated tuition plus living expenses from my SSO to submit to bank loan, and it's been 2 more weeks. How long does it take? Well, Srishti, again, the I-20 will list that amount, and it all depends on how many credits you're taking at the end of the semester. So when ISSO says it's $50,000 for the first year, your expenses might be lesser or even more. See, your living expenses are lifestyle expenses. Even though we say that the averages is about $400 to $700 a month is what we have seen generally students. There are students who pay $1,000 a month to live in separate apartments, or their own expenses are around $2,000. So that is something different. The other thing is if you're looking at your tuition, depending on the number of credits that you have taken and whether you have a scholarship or not, your tuition can change significantly. So what you can do is, if you want an estimate on let's say the tuition, what you can do is on my screen, tuition plans, but I want to go for tuition estimates. Go to prospective students, select your residency, whatever it is. This, and let's say I want to take 12 credits. It'll give you an estimate, plus you can print it off as well. Okay, this will give you a tuition estimate. And then on top of this, your living expenses, you can estimate at the rate of, go with a bigger figure, because it's always good to estimate with an inflated number rather than being very conservative with your numbers. But $600-700 is what we look at as an average for living expenses. What are the vaccine norms for Indian students coming this fall? Well, there is no mandate about getting vaccinated. Okay, UT Dallas is not telling you which vaccine to take or not. If you want to get a vaccine on campus, there will be some available. And right now, the scene is very streamlined. You go to any pharmacy, they have COVID vaccine here in the US if you want to get it. Whether you should take a certain vaccine back home, that is all up to you. What I would recommend is talk to your doctor. And logically, taking different types of vaccines, like one shot from one type of vaccine and the second from another one, that doesn't really work out. And I would strictly advise against it. But talk to your doctor. They understand how these vaccines really will work out for you. We have the last few questions, which I'm going to take. Can you speak about off-campus housing? Is it necessary that we should be in college to look for housing? I tried to connect with Northside through off-campus housing, no response to apply through. Will the apartments fill up by the time? Joel, what I would recommend is get on these social media groups. You have, for the program here, we have a Telegram group as well. Get on that and ask people if they would like to, get into an accommodation with you. There are always people who are looking for roommates, flatmates. A lot of times people meet entirely on a social media group. They'll take that conversation somewhere and then start booking appointments. But we have a lot of different options available across around the campus. Things like, uh, and if you start looking for them, Pearl, Estates on Frankfurt, you have Marquis, and there's a street called McCallum Boulevard. There are a lot of apartments there. The east side of the campus. If you go to ISSO's website, they have some of these communities listed out there. But what I would recommend is get on these one of these social media groups. Facebook has a lot of them, and there's a thing called Indian Students Housing and Travel. It's a very big group, and people always talk about roommates and getting into houses together. Is there any way to get my CVS ID from ISSO so I can apply for my visa, as I've not got my I-20 yet? Well, Samagra, wait for the I-20. If you've not got it yet, send me an email. Let me get my counterpart from ISSO to look into it urgently. Remember, if it is within 7 to 10 business days, then wait. If it has been beyond that, then send me an email. Can you tell us about on-campus and off-campus employment opportunities? Well, on campus, we have a lot of different opportunities through the different offices. There are parking, there's dining, there is a lot of front desks, help desks, the Office of Information Technology. We have student worker positions in the labs, in the programs. All that is on campus. You can start an on-campus position from the first day. Once you're enrolled, you're here, you create an account on a portal called Handshake, and from there you can start applying. As far as off-campus employment opportunities are concerned, well, the only ones that you can do are your internships. Anything that you do, first of all, has to be approved by the school. Any kind, you cannot go just and start working at a gas station, because as an international student, you don't have that work authorization to do that. As a domestic student, you're working at a place and the school doesn't authorize it. You don't need to seek the school's authorization, because as a citizen, as a permanent resident, you might have that work authorization. But for international students, every bit of employment that you do while you're on your F1 visa has to be approved by the school. So off campus is only internships when it comes to that. Can we do more than 36? Absolutely. You can do more than 36 credits. You take the extra credits in your last semester, but as soon as you complete your program requirements, you cannot just wait to graduate. You'll have to graduate as soon as you meet them. I'm an incoming fall student. If I get a TA in spring, will I get state tuition for the entire year? It is only going to be for spring. So whichever semester you are a TA, you will get that for that particular semester, the ability to pay in state tuition. Can you tell me again how much is required credits for a semester? Well, if you are a domestic student, you take one course, that should be okay. If you're an international student, you are here on an F1 visa, you will need to get into your 9 credits. Let's say if you decide to start with us completely online for the first semester, then you're not bounded by that 9 credits, because you technically have not started on your F1 visa, but you're still started. But for international students, taking 9 credits in a semester is what is required, unless you're doing an internship where you can go and avail something called a reduced course load. Does the tuition fee change from 9 to 12 credits? It does. It does. The per credit hour rate goes down. So if we look at the tuition estimates here, not tuition estimate, the plans, variable rate, let's say 2021, 22. So I'm just looking at international students, and I'm looking at, let's say, 9 credits. It's 14,626 for 9. For 12 credits, it's 18,000. But look, after 12 credits, everything is the same, which means 13th credit onwards, it's free. And that's what significantly reduces your per credit hour rate. For the cohort and the online program, there are the this thing, what do you call? They have a fixed tuition credit hour rate, but with flex, it reduces. Now, difference between variable and guaranteed. Variable, it starts low, but it can grow at the rate of 2% every year. Guaranteed may start a little high, but it doesn't matter how long you take to graduate, the rate will be locked in, whatever is your first year rate. Now, for most of the graduate students who finish within 1.5 to 2 years, it really doesn't matter. So start with the variable rate. You will not end up paying too much extra money as opposed to guaranteed. But a lot of times we have domestic students who are working professionals. They're just taking one course a semester. They end up doing the whole degree in 3 to 4 years. For them, it may be beneficial. For our undergrad students who take 3 to 4 years, for them the guaranteed rate makes more sense. But for graduate students who are just completing 36 credits, variable rate is okay. I'll take this last question here about the reduced course load. So again, reduced course load is something that you can do less than 9 credits, even as an international student, because of a variety of reasons. It could be health reasons, and mostly it is internship. We allow you to take less than 9 credits. The minimum is 1 that you need, but you cannot do 2 semesters back to back with reduced course load, which means less than 9 credits, unless your second semester is your graduating semester. So in your graduating semester, let's say you're left with 2 credits only. That can happen. Well, all you do is the 2 credits. You're not required to take 9 credits. But if you want reduced course load multiple times, it cannot be back-to-back semester. It has to be alternate semesters. But generally, very rarely people land in that boat because you're done with your degree program by the time you've taken the first reduced course in the second semester. All right, well, thank you guys for all your questions this morning, and we will have this sent out to you. But if you have anything else, just let us know. Send us an email, and we are doing this every 2 weeks, so we hope to see you. And in case you are coming down to UT Dallas in fall 21, we wish you the best, and just let us know how we can help you, because we want to make sure that your transition to UT Dallas, whether it is domestically or from an international location, is as smooth as possible. But we look forward to seeing you in the program and working with you. Have a good one, everybody, and all the best.